I think, there are some political challenges to going out and starting, let's say, a school of agriculture. There's also some financial challenges to do that, given, you want to make sure we can grow and support the programs we have. But I think it's also important to recognize that you don't have to have an agriculture school to do research that's important to the agricultural community. There's an incredibly...
Most outspoken senator award, and it goes to LETs. The next award goes to, I think this person should become a comedian, but the best jokes award goes to Ms. Dominique. Here he just left, but he received the most arbitrary comments award. And for the final senator award, it is the I'm So Confused award.
Yes, Senator Daniel.
Next year we can't get rid of an award.
Oh, no, I gotta find out.
Senator Daniel.
Yeah, I was reading my ad for the elected officer
Okay.
support. So hi everyone, my name is Zach Daniel. I'm the chair of the Dining Services Advisory Board. So in case you didn't know, or you didn't get the email sent by Senator Daniel, he made it quite clear that he wrote the resolution for this board. This resolution comes from reports from various employees from Dining Services. We do want to state that due to the nature of dining, when we initially tried the approach of actually collecting information, when we tried the open approach, people were literally told us, I feel like this is going to get us fired, so I'm cool on that, bro. Then we tried the more, okay, so you can confidentially report anything how you feel about dining to us, and we'll address it to the administration. And this, when I was talking to President Brandon about forming the board, basically he was really big on having everything put in the resolution, because he's talked to a lot of students at Dining Services, and he understands that there's, it's not the perfect place to work at, but there's some problems, and where the board was created to actually help them. So if you read the language of the resolution, it's mainly to say, I actually changed it from the initial thing. I emailed everyone. It's basically saying, hey Jason, we as the Dining Service Board, these are the problems we collected from your student employees that were less than likely to actually say it to you due to the whole culture of the employees there. But this is all the research we've done for this last year. It's long, I understand this, but each whereas builds up into the ultimate argument of our very simple but efficient demands that aren't really confrontational. They're more geared to create a happier culture, like working environment in dining that would benefit both the students and dining itself. So this isn't to say, oh, dining, you suck. This is really saying, hey, we understand that you're working hard, but here's some things that you may not notice. And this is how this is the actual, this is how we feel about the dining commons. That's basically it.
Senator Jones.
So one of our constituents unfortunately was unable to be here, but he did send me an email that he wanted me to read on his behalf. So ASUCM senators, unfortunately, I asked you, talk to Adam, and Adam said yeah. So
For elected officers?
Would this go during public forum?
do you want me to wait?
She can't talk during public forum.
Oh,
That's the
okay.
problem. So.
She can just pull away from that.
Okay, so ASUCM senators, unfortunately, I'm not able to attend the Senate meeting tonight to speak during public forum regarding Resolution 18, student employee rights. So I've asked Senator Jones to read my comments on my behalf. As one of your constituents, my first point of contention is the timing of this resolution. Instead of bringing this to the table early in the semester with more time for student input, this highly controversial resolution is being discussed and voted on at the last meeting of the Senate during final seasons. Now students occupied with final assignments and studying, who would otherwise desire to voice their opposition to the resolution at tonight's meeting, are prevented from doing so. Additionally, the decision last week to suspend the legislative bylaws in order to place the resolution on the agenda for voting tonight further restricted the ability of the students to find out about it and to express their views on it. How are you, as our elected representatives, able to make a decision informed by your constituents when you have not given the time to hear from them? When reading the proposed resolution, it became very clear to me that the motives behind this are not to work at finding solutions and improvements, but rather to stir up emotions and controversy as the sitting senators depart from their seats at the table. This reality is evident in the fact that very little was done to voice the concerns expressed in the resolution prior to this body's public consideration of them. Instead of collaborating with department director and campus administrators in a respectful way to address the issues and make real change, supporters of this resolution wanted to go straight to the media with ghastly, inaccurate information and wild claims. Thankfully, this section of the resolution, which would have sent the document to the Sacramento and Fresno Bees, has been removed from the original resolution. It is embarrassing to think that this politically motivated resolution would appear in the media as a poor representation of how UC Merced students deal with campus conflict. It is beyond my comprehension how supporters of this resolution believe that any department administrators would want to work with ASUCM in the future if this were to be passed. But then again, this is the last meeting for Senate, so I suppose it wouldn't be a problem that the Senate would have to live with next year. Beyond the controversy of this resolution, the claims within it are simply preposterous and inaccurate. I find it very convenient that supporters of the resolution excuse the lack of facts and data with confidential nature in the supposed complaint. This resolution is based on hearsay, plain and simple. Attached you will find, I guess I'll send you guys the attachment. Attached you will find an excerpt from the California Retail Food Code that completely disproves this resolution's claim about food handler cards and food safety training. Again, instead of seeking facts and resolutions to any real problems, those who have proposed this resolution sought drama. I urge all senators to table this resolution indefinitely and to address student concerns the right way as mature, responsible leaders of our student body. Let's send a message that ASUCM works with integrity to find solutions, not that we stir up controversy and disrespect department directors with unproductive political motives. Sincerely, Dalton Rogers.
Any other elected officers report? Okay, well, in the whole mess of re-electing people, we also have to re-elect a secretary for this meeting. So I'd like to open the floor to nominations. Senator Daniel,
I nominate Senator Taylor.
do you accept?
Yeah, sure.
Any other nominations? Okay, so Senator Taylor is now secretary for this meeting. You already have the Google Drive attachment.
Oh, you said, oh, yes, yes,
Yes. So,
yes.
okay, any other elected officers' reports? No? Okay, moving on. Officers' reports, Senator Pro Tempore, Senator Mondo.
Good job, everybody. Keep that one going for one last meeting. I'm done.
Sergeant at Arms, Senator Jones.
Hey everybody, guess what day it is?
What is it?
Hump Day! This was the last time this year you guys had to hear me say that. But I do want to say it has been a pleasure working with you all through the good and the bad. I feel like we've had some great experiences, and I've definitely met some people that are beyond amazing, and it's been a great opportunity to work with you guys. And I'm going to stop right now because I'm going to start crying. I'm not going to do it. I'm not gonna do it.
Secretary, Senator Taylor.
Well, everybody, it was a pleasure working with you all, being my first time here in ASUCM. I enjoyed it, I loved it, and hope to be involved again next year. I'm pretty excited, so we'll see. Okay, that's it.
ICC Liaison, Senator Wong.
ICC did not meet this week. Thank you for appointing me to be the ICC liaison. I had a really good amazing experience to working with a lot of clubs and voicing that concerns at the table, and then individually to you guys, and bringing our message to the ICC meetings.
Court Liaison, Senator Daniel.
So, court conducted its final meeting where they had a tear-felt farewell to Chief Justice Ross and Justice Dutchover. Basically, court has a strong base now and foundation. So everyone should look forward to court operating at full swing. They actually have a plan. I'm almost left speechless at how court's going to be like for next year. Like, it's been what, I want to say 4 or 5 years since court actually has been like fully functioning with people that are truly dedicated. I mean, no offense to anyone that was involved previously, that everyone. I mean, but I do want to say that, you know, overall, like, being the court liaison has been a really great experience, and working with the court, and you know, just seeing how they meet really brings back like it tugs at the heartstrings of why I joined ASUCM in the first place, because it was mainly because of former President Williams, Miguel Lopez, Bijan, but Bobney and Ross are really like the people that I look up to like highly when it comes to like ASUCM. So like it's really good. It moves me to see something that they were part of like be fully functioning and like left in really good hands the years to come. So I would like to have everyone give a round of applause to court, because you know they're fucking awesome.
Okay, committee reports. Remember to please mention the attendance in your reports. Budget and Finance, Senator Mondo.
We met, I think it was our last meeting last week, yeah. We approved both special case funds, firstly for that guy who just ran out. Awesome has a couple events they're going to do over the summer, and knowing how you need certain special equipment in order to record and stream off consoles, we thought that, and we knew that their members of their club had experience using that kind of equipment. We thought the bill was good enough to come to the Senate table to decide on. When it comes to, is it DIV? Yeah. When it came to their bill, they said that they had experience doing something like this in the past. They had many experienced members from multiple different dance organizations on campus. And so though they're a first-year RCO, they're composed of experienced members. And we felt that it would be best for the table to decide whether or not they would receive funding, because we felt the organization at this point can probably stand on its 2 feet, considering who's a part of it. I'm pretty sure everyone was there. Can't remember it. Yeah. I think everyone was there. I couldn't really take any notes during that one. But I guess we don't have a meeting tomorrow for one of the first times. So see you guys next year with Budget and Finance. Gotta find a new chair for that.
Academic Affairs, since Senator Brown isn't here, VP Academic Affairs. Did he just run out? Okay, so who's secretary? Senator Rosenberg.
I wasn't there.
Is there a meeting?
I was contacted about it.
Oh my god.
Cool.
Okay.
Would you like
No, we just
Discuss.
discussed special functions, no, the bottom.
Okay, cool.
We can control.
Student activities, Senator Wall.
So all the senators were there. We had our last meeting today. Bill 83, 84, 85 were not voted, but were discussed. This was because it was sent to us later, so we weren't comfortable enough to vote on it. And then Resolution 17 and Resolution 18 were not passed unanimously.
Student advocacy, Senator Zisser.
Oh, for student advocacy today, we had all senators present for the majority of the meeting. We discussed all the bills and resolutions in order, and should I present later if they were passed?
Yes. Okay. Advisors report.
Last report of the year.
Steve.
Did we ever move out of storming?
Did you ever move out of storming?
I mean, move. Yeah.
Prado?
Well, former Senator Hernandez just Facebooked me and told me that he can't hear the sound is not working.
Watching this from Brazil.
Sorry.
Just put it, hang out.
He said the same thing to me just right now. He emailed it to you.
Get the transparency.
I should just sit here and sign.
Okay, president's report. Our president is not here. Treasurer's report.
This is a treasurer's report for the 7th of May 2014. Also, my last treasurer's report. You're all probably happy about that, I'll say. So, first, general fund and budget. So for the general fund, $75,970.51 left. That's if you subtract the amount spent with this $263,523.90. Amount granted $266,582.42. And yes, that amount granted number is larger than your bill line item number. I'll get to that later. And then amount spent is $187,550.42. So, once again, $266,582.42 was granted. $187,553.42 was spent by the club so far. Beginning of the year, you had $122,812 in the Senate bill line item, general fund, and then we'll roll over and adding it to $263,520. And now what's left is unallocated should be negative $3,058.09. However, because you have rollover, the first batch of rollover I did, and then I did some more rollover today, earlier today. That's first $6,318.82, $3,054.38, $9,373.06 you add up, and then your funds are right now $6,314.71 if you subtract the money that we're in the red. So because of that, oh, and also this has stayed the same. They gave out 157,000 last year's Senate, about closer to 158,000. I'm sorry, 100. No, yeah. And then this so far, this Senate has granted $266,582.40. So you're all, and there's still some bills left, so you're almost going to go over. You're already over. Kind of, yeah. Senate bill visual. Again, total funds left $6,314.71. That's how much that's left to allocate. So first, streaming equipment for Awesome. No, there's no O because you don't include the O with of.
Question me on the English language.
No, because we call it USOA or USA. United States of America, we don't have the O.
What information is, you have to say the whole word, the whole statement. So it is
It's
awesome.
It's AWESA.
Can I get the money, you guys, please? Thank you.
Request
That was
is
not
$450.
Line up the 17.
It's for streaming equipment, right? For some like Let's Play or something like that.
Yeah, there's a lot.
So yeah, there's that lunch. Remember, first year club, we do a special case fund, although I'll talk about the next one. So next one, Bill 85 is for the dance summer. It said intensive, but I'm not sure if it was initiative or something like that. Request is $12,100. Crazy the math, but that's why I included this last part, ICC. So according to the bill, we would take money out of ICC, what's left they have, and then put it in for us to spend. The only problem with that though is, well, for one, I'm not sure if the Senator Daniels asked permission for ICC whether we could do that, although if we are Senate, if we want to, we could act unilaterally, although we've had some problems with dealing with ICC, lack of communication, so I don't think that would help, that would exacerbate the problem. Although the end of the year's almost over. But with ICC, they have about 9,704 left in their balance, so yeah, you could do still 12,000. You could, if you took all that. But you know, once again, I said, have we asked ICC if we could do that? You know, yeah, we could act unilaterally, but that was sort of the right thing. So yes, 12,100. Once again, this is also a first-year club. Although according to Senator Mondo and Senator Daniels, they've had members who have been other dance clubs before, and they've done it, and now they're creating their new one. However, though, you know, and they're also trying to use a special case fund. Although I'd like to mention that I've been talking with Steve about this, about how the special case fund isn't really supposed to be like, it says special case funding for clubs that usually can't get money allocated, right? But I think that was supposed to be meant more like really extreme circumstances in terms of like maybe sales could count, that type of thing. Although we've had some problems with that, with how they spent the money, and that's one of the reasons why we don't give out money to first-year clubs, is because we've that these organizations don't usually have the experience of how to deal with the amount of money, what the proper procedures are for ASUCM and how to spend money, and that's one of the reasons why we don't give first-year clubs, so that way they can learn about that beforehand before they can actually get ASUCM funding, because with what happened with sale is that there was we gave them $9,000, and this is partially my fault. They, if you go to the ASUCM office, there's this little plaque there that Sale gave to us that said, thank you for helping support our event. Technically, though, that wasn't supposed to be purchased because that was against our bylaws. When they gave me the purchase order for what they wanted to spend with that, originally they told me that it was going to be only given to the speaker as a thank you. Thank you for coming here to speak with us. Just a little token of their gratitude. But then apparently they gave a plaque to us, and I heard it also to several students, which is against our bylaws. So that's like one example of sort of why we don't give out money to first-year club. That's why special case funds was used for more extreme cases about like why, and go a little more in depth in terms of why they aren't being why we should fund them and use that other than just they're a first-year club. And also that's one of the reasons why this is usually if we are going to give it, it's more of a small amount. We're thinking of like 2,000, but 12,000 is a lot of money. Bill 86, Bobcat Wrestling Club, requests $700 for singlets. Talked to Mondo about this one. Because, we don't want to look inconsistent, we can give money to cycling clubs, so possibly we ended it, that sort of thing. Because, sort of similar thing for competition. So, now I kind of like to do the reflective part of my work. So, first I'll talk about sort of, what kind of follow this. For why I came in here, I was elected treasurer last year, ran unopposed. Great campaign. Campaign is not great. It's awesome. I was in a good elections time campaigning. But how I got into the ASUCM was I was my predecessor, now my successor, chief of staff. I helped him out with sort of the mid-year progress reports and the budget process. That's how I sort of became really interested with it. I actually was introduced to David by I think he was your senator at the time, right, Balthazar? But then he became IVP. You helped introduce me to him. Yeah. Thanks for that. You got me this job, help me out. But I ran because I really enjoyed it. I really enjoyed this year. Overall life appeared curmudgeon-y and kind of like a jerk. That's my basic, my usual secret personality, acidic. But overall, no, I really enjoyed working actually with all of you most of the time. And thank you for that. It's been a good year. It's been a great year, and it's really taught me a lot about how to deal with others and things like that. Leadership, technically agree with all the time. But continuing on, like some of the goals I wanted to accomplish, I would say overall, it seemed like a lot of people liked. I would say I wanted to create a good budget. Overall, people seem to have liked it. It was, we didn't get too much complaints from people. I mean, it was used heavily for campaigning measures to help the current president now, President Brandon get reelected. Uses that, but because I was hoping, because and usually elections because it was probably just a good job that I did helping create it.
52 seconds.
5 minutes. I think probably 5 minutes.
Senator Durant.
Can I give him 5 minutes to speak?
Senator Wall.
Second.
And so yeah, that was it. I wanted to create a good budget. I did that. I wanted to be involved with I guess it's easy. You know what? I'm more of a negative person. I got rid of feeling accomplishments. I can't. It's hard for me to be more positive myself. But one thing, one of my promises I didn't fulfill was that I promised that I would get in contact more with these club treasurers, and I wanted to have a once-a-month meeting with them to discuss fundraising possibilities. And I never did that. And that was a failure on my part. Just got busy, or got kind of lazy, procrastinated, put it off, and just never happened. So I'm hoping next year maybe we can do that if you want. And one of the reasons why I wanted to do that, and I think another one thing I failed to accomplish was back from the retreat, was when we had this, one thing was about how to raise awareness to clubs about how they could fundraise, why they should fundraise. Because, as we kind of see, Senate's always kind of reached towards the end where we start running low on money, how it's going to be spent, and as the campus grows, yeah, we'll be getting a little bit more money, but that might not be enough to, because also these events are going to get larger because they're going to be having to cater to more people, we're going to need to use more money, and then the question is going to be how we're going to pay for, how we can help out every club. I mean, it might eventually be where the more established clubs will have an easier time getting money, but it'll be harder for the first or second year, third year organizations to get ASUCM funds because they don't have that track record with us. So that's one of the reasons why I want to stress more about clubs self-fundraising, trying to get their own money to pay for their events or travel, because that's eventually going to have to be needed soon. Because it's better they start now than when it gets really bad, because campus is growing and I believe these events are just going to get larger. And those events are going to be more clubs. There's going to be more people vying for a pot of money, and the only thing we could possibly do is maybe we would want to do it if we need to get more funds. We could if we were allowed to, through referendum, raise student fees that give the ASUCM, but we really want to do that, especially when we get a lot of students who are coming here without, through financial aid, more than that. And then, so that was one thing. So my hope for next year is that that goes on, that plan that we had hoped for clubs being try to self-fundraise continues is picked up again next year. Feels very important for that. Next year Senate does a good job. Of course, that's always your hope. You always hope that they're going to do well. And I'm kind of rambling now. Any questions or any comments on what I have to say?
Senator Zisser.
So back to the the dance bill. You mentioned about the ICC. Can you just re-clarify that again? So how can we give them the full amount, or is that not possible?
Well, see, that's another question I'm kind of having. I was kind of wondering about it too. Is that according to the bill, it says to take money out of ICC. I believe it says that on there. I'll check. Being enacted that the Associated Students of the University of California, Merced, Senate allocate $12,100 from the special. There is no special case fund. To division in which is to be allocated from the unallocated ICC General Fund for Division Summer Intensive for the month of May to June, which is broken down in Appendix A. And so that would mean then taking out, well, technically what you take out is $37,000, but you can't take out all that $37,000 because there's some clubs that just haven't spent the money they were giving yet. So, but you could take out $12,100, but that, what if it ends up where the balance becomes you take out $12,100, but what ends up how much ICC would have?
You can't take that money. There's not enough.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking too. Yeah.
There's not enough money.
Yeah.
That's the end result, because the money's already been signed off and approved to those clubs. You can't take it away from them.
The only money you could take away is the $9,000, right? the $9,704.16, which then added up with the $6,000. Yeah, you could have enough, but still. Hopes for next year. Please don't try to go to committee as a whole lot next year and don't have these last minute bills, these last minute bills, or abuse the special case fund. Sort of like I said earlier, we're kind of going against our own bylaws, and we shouldn't really be doing that. And also, next year's senators, and also maybe something next year ASUCM can do. I think one of the problems OSL has been having is clubs coming in like 2 days before their event, the day before their event, saying, "Oh, we need this money now. We were given this money. Here's our purchase order." And that's just that's very last minute. And part of it could be also that they don't understand fully the process, how long they should wait a week. And I think maybe that we should try to do more. ASUCM should try to do more next year to advertise what they should be planning out, like how long they should be planning out, like when they should be sending in purchase orders, if it's an on-campus event, if it's travel. I guess that'd be one, hope for next year. Any other questions or comments?
Senator Jones.
Thanks for all your hard work, team. We appreciate it.
Thank you. Last treasure. That's the end of my last treasure report. And yeah,
So, right now is public forum. Any member of the public may wish to speak. You can do so now. You have 5 minutes, and the Senate table cannot respond to you. Oh, also be sure to please state your name and the organization that you represent.
Hi, everyone. My name is Andrew Carlson. I actually represent dining facilities, dining department as a whole. I'm one of the few student managers within the dining department. Want to come and give my opinion on the bill being passed right now. In my opinion, this bill in no way actually demonstrates issues that are, even close to being existent within dining. First off, before even going further than that, this bill was presented earlier last week and then massively revised today to bring up different issues that were not at all discussed with, I believe, any person or constituent prior to. I think making a decision on this right now is kind of in bad taste. To move on to it, the bill claims that we break code by not having people trained to actually work with food. Right now I have a copy of the California Retail Foods Code, just to throw it to you. Section 113948, Section A.2. A food handler who is hired prior to June 1st, 2011 shall obtain a food handler card on or before July 1st, 2011. But then it goes on to say, subject to exceptions described in Subdivision D. And Subdivision D includes public and private school cafeterias. The fact is, we have a lot of our staff trained in food safety. We have them there watching over the students, making sure that they are being food safety conscious. And we actually do it to a level far beyond what we actually need to do. I'm a student manager of a convenience store, and I'm actually food safety certified to cook in the kitchen, and that's well beyond any, means that I need in the first place. It goes on to state that there's issues with sexual harassment, management not taking care of any of these issues, and also a student handbook isn't present to tell them what to do. But we do have a student handbook that every student gets out at the very beginning that they have to sign and bring back to our management and show that they've read and gone through. It includes rules on how to handle extreme situations like sexual harassment, all the way down to proper clothing, how to call in ahead of time, how to just deal with day-to-day issues. Every instruction that you could possibly need is in here, including instruction that says if you are to hear about sexual harassment as a third party, you should report it to management. And I think it's kind of shocking and sad that apparently a senator has this kind of information privately, and instead of actually reporting it and trying to deal with an issue, he's going to use it to pass a bill. I think that's terrible if that is the case, and really honestly shines terribly on that person's character. The fact is, this is just a slap in the face to a department that by no means it does very unthankless work. It's very thankless work. You either get complaints or nothing, and nothing's the best thing you can get. but we do it every day, and we do it to the best of our ability. And we don't break code, we don't break rules, and we make sure that we have a good environment ready for kids to come and work, be safe, and learn skills and be tutored. That's really all I have to say. Thank you.
Anyone else from the public wishing to speak now?
Hi.
Please state your name and organization.
Oh, that's cute. Hi, my name's Nick White. I'm a fellow Bobcat. If you guys haven't seen me around, I'm around a lot. I'm a part of the National Society of Black Engineers. I do a lot for that. I'm a part of the national board. I served on the regional board, served on the chapter board here at UC Merced. I'm involved with research and UC Lead Scholar. I'm part of the STEM Resource Center, and I formerly was a dining student supervisor in the Yabucoff Walls Dining Center. I'm here particularly because ASUCM is everywhere. ASUCM involves all the students on campus, and it's the voice of the students to most of, I would say, the upper portions of UC Merced that most people don't interact with on a daily basis. And you're here for the efficient and equal representation, for the expression of students' views, clarity of opinions, and interests, and recognition of the rights of the student. That nonsense that's in the preamble of the Constitution. So I figured I would come here and explain my opinion of dining services and how it can do more for the safety training and equipment for its employee workers. I'm a little nervous to be up here, to be honest. I'm scared of using the job. Or any other time I'd ever go back there. So, in the dining center, I have no problem with the dining center. I love working there. 90% of my friends are from the dining center. I would gladly work at the dining center for fun. I actually would come into work a few hours early to work because it was fun. But when talking to several student employees, there were many of them that couldn't answer anything about food safety training. It is true, the leadership of Dining Services did get food training from our director, Jason Souza. That really I didn't see trickle down too much, to be honest. And I feel like there's something more that we could do since our director technically is certified to teach people this. He could gather everyone in one location, teach them it real simply, but it hasn't been done even though I've suggested it personally. All the different stations in the dining center in particular, former supervisors have come together and established training guidelines that they'd like everyone to receive on their first day of work. That was never implemented. I've actually talked to many of those supervisors and guidance for coming to speak to you guys because this is important, and many of the supervisors that I've talked to in the past and currently feel like the students want to work in a different environment, one that's safer, has better training, and has better equipment. I've talked to several students that don't know they have sick hours. I currently have 18.22 sick hours and I know how to use them, but I know several employees don't. And that's training that can be passed along to other people. On the grill, there's a flat top. I burned my arm several times on it. And in the morning, you have to roll burritos for the lantern to sell. They were withheld heat-resistant gloves for several months. I personally don't understand this. We talked to a senior staff member and they went and got the gloves out of the back, but every time a student employee went to ask management about it, they were not given them and were told that they were in the process of being ordered. Just for clarification, that was in the morning, and that night they had gloves from the senior management employee. Students have gotten burns on their arms, gasoline in their eyes, some of them exposed to chemicals that give them an allergic reaction, such as the sanitizer at the concentrations it was at. And I really feel like as ASUCM, we can do a better job of speaking for the students to get them equipment that they would like to have and need. There's room for growth in dining services. I would like to help get it done. I know a lot of times that it's difficult to get people to think. I'm done? Okay. But I feel like ASUCM can help with managing it to make things a little bit better and voice the students' concerns. If you have any questions, I'll answer them freely whenever you want. Thank you. Yes, I can.
Any other members of the public?
My name is Elby Fortube, representing Division Workshops. Just to talk about really exactly what we're trying to do this summer. So Division is a new club on campus, which we thrive on innovation, inspiration, creative flow, and growth. We're a dance club, but it's a lot much more than that, you know. Through dance, we're providing a way for people to express themselves and, you know, just grow with their passion. The purpose for having these workshops began with the idea that, you know, the three main dance groups on campus, we have Intro, HHM, and DECO. A lot of the people on Intro, you know, feel like they're not growing as dancers, they're teaching themselves, they don't know what to do, and they've stopped there. So that's where the idea sprouted from. But continuing with it, you know, I saw all the benefits of it. Division just started this semester, and we have practices every Friday. And we invite choreographers to come and teach. And we had about 17 or 18 people from Fresno. I didn't even know they were coming. Just poured into the dance room. They signed the waiver. They paid the $10 fee to be into the gym. I didn't even know they were coming. And just having this opportunity to have this thing here, you know, there's the dance community is huge. If none of you dance, if you don't know about it, but dance is bigger than it ever has been before, ever. You have giant dance competitions. Things happening all over the world, internationally. People are just coming together through dance. If you ever, you know, like that video by that happy video, everyone's dancing that video. The world is connected by dancing, and I feel one of the benefits of having this dance workshop is to connect the UC community with the actual Merced community. I was a dance teacher for 2 studios within the Merced community, bouncing around. And they just can't do it on their own. I feel like as a UC, having this dance intensive dance workshop will easily merge the two together. I know it's really expensive, $12,100, and I do apologize for having this all really late. But you have to understand, I'm on Intro as one of the teams, and you know we just had battle, and if you watch the performance, we put a lot of work into it. We only had 26 days to do that, and so I know all of this is rushed and it's packed, but we're making it work. I've given all the choreographers, all 30 choreographers, their W9s, everything, and we're trying to have this done as quickly as possible. And with your guys' support, you know, I know it can be made possible. Coming to UC Merced, I came here, a lot of people, they don't know why they came here, but a lot of people came here because, you know, this is the only school they had left. I came here, I chose this school over like UC Irvine because it was a new school and I knew that I could bring things to life here. And this is one of the main things that I feel we can bring to life, and it benefit in multiple ways. Talking to people, talking to kids on the, new students on the class of 2018. A lot of them are, you know, like they're talking to me. I just talked to like maybe 12 of them who were dancers yesterday. I didn't even know, they just messaged me and they were saying, you know, what are the opportunities like for dance here? What are other things that I can do to help express myself, to feel comfortable? And I let them know about these things, and they were so grateful. They were scared to come to Merced because they thought that, you know, there was nothing here. And just letting them know that we have things here, that there are opportunities, there are chances here, you know, makes them more comfortable, makes people proud to go to this school. And yeah, that's the basis of really what I'm trying to do here, is just make people proud of the school and enjoy going here and growing and be able to express themselves. So thank you.
Any member of the audience wish to speak up? sorry.
My name is Lorena Barrera, and I want to say something for the dining commons bill or resolution that has been brought up. So I started working there in August, and I know, like Andrew said, the law that requires food handler cards doesn't apply to us because we're a public school cafeteria or whatever, and we're exempt under other things on that law. But I didn't receive any type of training. And for example, I've seen a lot of you guys go to the grill. We serve chicken breasts and things like that. When we didn't have a thermometer, the career workers who are trained just tell us to give it out or put it in the water where we put it to serve you guys when we think it's ready. And if we're not trained, I don't know if you guys want to eat from people that like are just guessing when food is ready and giving it to you guys, and you guys could get sick and things of that sort. Also on the gloves, I'm one of those people that like got burned and they told us that they were ordering them and that we were supposed to try to save them or wash them or something when we're actually supposed to throw them away because they're too expensive for students to use. Also, what else was I gonna say? Sorry, I don't like speaking in public. I'm stuck. The staff members are also not food certified. The chefs in the back sometimes, instead of using gloves, they stir vegetables with their bare hands. One of the ladies that works in Caliente, where you guys get your Mexican food, she's on her phone and then is cooking your food at the same time, not wearing gloves. So things like that. There is not enough training for the employees there, and they don't train us either. And our employee handbook does say that we are supposed to assist them, not do their job for them, because I know at the Grill we did pretty much everything. And they're the ones that are getting paid to do that stuff. So I think that as a voice of UC Merced students, you guys should look more into that stuff because I kind of felt like they were taking advantage and they weren't giving the proper training to anyone that works there. And we serve you guys too at the DC. So I just want you guys to keep that in mind. Thank you.
Yes.
Hello, David Asensio. So I think that I speak on behalf of like some of what Dalton mentioned earlier. The concerns are great, and I think that's on behalf of the AS to take a stance on dining issues and anything that concerns students. However, my questions are not on what the experiences are. I think on how the form was done on the resolution, saying that not many students were involved in the process. And this is the concern of the AS, that students always should be in the process. If we're truly being an AS, we should have students in the process. I don't question anybody's experiences. I really think that that's a huge issue, and that the student advocate should have done something, or the director of student advocacy should have done something. That's in the past. But what the students' issues, I think, are here, and I think that the process of which it's done is still lacking. However, this is the issue that I think is pertaining to most, I guess, at least to some concerned citizens or concerned students, is that the process didn't happen. And I think that most students should be aware of this issue, not just the AS. And this is a concerning issue. And if the process actually was fulfilled the way it should have happened, more students would have been involved and would have known of the issue. However, we're in this situation where the issue is sort of hidden between the students who are here at this meeting or associated with the AS. And I think that we need students to actually be advocating who are actually on housing or buying food from dining every single day to know of this issue, not just students who are here. And I think this is sort of like going back to the process, which should have been followed correctly. However, it hasn't been, and to me it seems questionable that it was brought up at the last minute, at the last meeting, when if this issue had been going on since the beginning of the year, it should have been brought up at the beginning of this fall semester, not at the end of the spring semester. This is just my sort of like opinion and my view of this process that's been questionable throughout. Thank you.
Yes.
Hi, Desiree McLean, just a constituent. So I just want to say that I've spoken with a lot of professional staff and students here on campus about the way that these resolutions have been brought to the table. And And while each resolution tries to figure out a problem or solve a problem that the students are facing here on campus, they don't have any valid research backing them up. Personally, I know the student employment resolution was speaking very broadly at the beginning and then very specifically at the end. So I feel if you're going to make a resolution on student employment and you're going to talk about all student employment, then it should be research from different positions here on campus versus one center on the campus. Or if you're going to talk about just dining problems, you should probably have a resolution just on problems in the dining center versus all student employment, because being that broad says that there are problems in every area of student employment, while that is not the case here at UC Merced, because I know if you speak to students who work in the Office of Student Life or residents in housing, that they are very satisfied with their jobs and really enjoy doing what they do. So I feel like the next time senators want to write resolutions, they should really take the time to ask their constituents that they're supposed to be serving what they really think about the issues that they're trying to solve for them, because it may not be an issue that they're facing.
Any other? Yes, Kim. Oh, you weren't raising your hand. Okay. Any other members of the audience? Please raise your hands as high as you can. Okay, great. Moving forward to old business. As chair, well, as
I'll be stepping in there. My extra credit got canceled. That's right, paper.
So who's pro tem now? We have two.
You shall remain pro tem. Samantha, back to pro tem.
Okay, so resolution number 17, support of an LGBTQIA resource center, introduced by Senator Daniel. Senator Daniel?
I move to approve resolution 17.
There's been a motion to approve resolution 17. Is there a second? Senator Zisser?
A second.
Second by Senator Zisser. Committee reports, budget and finance.
Approved with the so long as he had actually discussed this bill with the people who were with the names of the administrators that were put in this, but their names no longer appear in this version of the bill or the resolution. And there are a few other concerns in actually discussing any of this with people people who are already involved in this process, like ONAR, who's actually already going to UCOP to discuss something like this. So we're not against the idea of it, but we were against the way that it was actually presented and brought to the table.
Academic affairs. Vice Chair, Senator Rosenberg. Zach, academic affairs.
So unfortunately, academic affairs didn't meet due to, well, we had two members there. We didn't have enough for quorum. And that's all there is to report.
Student advocacy.
we met, approved.
Student activities.
We did not approve it. We liked the idea behind it, but we didn't like the way it was conducted. So at the time, how the resolution was written, we thought it would be unfair to other groups on campus, that this particular group gets to have space in the ASUCM office, but what about the other groups on campus? We also had a problem with the confirmation on the names that were listed. And we also discussed not applauding any groups or any clubs or organization in resolutions. But given that... 117. No, that one was included.
Okay, well, just go on.
Yeah. But given that the bill or the resolution is completely changed, I don't know what to report on that.
Senator Daniel?
So, yesterday, I actually met with the Lambda Alliance and discussed this bill. They informed me of the fact, I sent this resolution to them as well in the initial, this resolution itself was a request from the treasurer. From there, I kind of been like looking at different ways to actually propose, like how would ASUCM support a LGBTQIA resource center? Like what would be the call? Like what would this resolution look like? So the initial form that the resolution took was due from research that I looked into. online, like different resource centers, what one would look like, and I actually discovered an actual proposal back in 2009. However, when I sent this to Lambda, they brought up some concerns that they were aware of this proposal back in 2009, and they revised it, and they were in the process of calling for one as well. So that was a bit of a lack of communication due to just availability overall. I was the main, this was just a request from one of my constituents. So I actually sat down with Lambda and hammered out this actual resolution that you see in its current state right now. It's the whole spirit of the actual resolution isn't to establish one right now, but actually recognize there's a need for one, and eventually that one should be established. But this is really just to, when they do get all the information needed to actually research and propose a LGBTQIA center, that ASUCM will be behind them and support them for being, as of right now, they're the only group on campus that advocates and supports for the LGBTQIA community. And as well as that, they actually have ties within the community. They actually connect with the community, the local community, for the LGBTQIA community. So the whole reason of this bill is I recognize as well, this is the issue that actually needs to be addressed, and this issue is overlooked from time to time. So that was the whole thing. The most of the information is really straightforward. It's very short. I provide supporting documentation and works cited, but overall, this calls for this recognized need for LGBTQI Resource Center and backs up Lambda's call for one as well. So we're kind of, yeah.
Senator Jones.
So when you sent out the changes to Resolution 18 and sent out this one, did you change this one at all from the original one that was sent out by Ivan, or that's on the website?
Yes.
Okay, well, I have an issue with that because according to our bylaws, the reason why we have timelines, and when you told us at the table when we amended or when we suspended the legislative bylaws where you put this on there, you said, oh, it's finished, and you submitted it, and that's what we got, and that's what we reviewed in our committees, that's what we had the time to do, and then now you send out a new one, and then you made a complaint about us not reading legislation, so how are we supposed to really make informed decisions if you're changing entirely the legislation and sending it out the morning of during final season?
Senator Mondo.
I think this is your 7th piece of incomplete legislation this year. We're not against the idea of it, but you've basically changed the entire structure on us again. And this isn't the bill that Budget and Finance approved, or the resolution that Budget and Finance approved, because the one that Budget and Finance approved had certain stipulations with the approval, and above that, it had different language in the be it resolved. So, I mean, honestly, I don't feel comfortable approving a resolution that, though it has good intentions, is different from what we'd already seen. The process is there for a reason, and it's something that you haven't followed very often this year. It's okay to send something to committee of the whole, but it's something totally different to suspend bylaws, to introduce incomplete legislation over and over and over again, no matter how good the cause. And you're only hurting these causes by continuing to do that. And it's nothing personal, but it's just we keep on seeing this over and over again. And I feel like people like me and Dominique and Emmanuel are beating a dead horse here, having said it so many times this year.
Senator Zisser and Senator Daniel.
So I think if we didn't vote yes on this, we'd be penalizing the students. Now I understand that we can pick at him all night for this, for not doing the process right, for submitting a bill. But at the same time, if you look at it, it did say 15% of students are not straight at our campus, and 73% of those 15% feel that it's not a good climate for them on campus. So I don't know why we'd vote no. I mean, I think we should get to a vote and stop picking at him if we all believe this is still a good idea.
Senator Daniel.
He basically said what I was going to say in a simpler way.
Senator Jones.
Okay, no one here is disputing the fact that these students don't deserve a resource center. Yes, they deserve a resource center. That's not the issue. The issue is we don't even know what we're voting on because it's completely different. That's the issue.
Senator Taylor.
Like I said, the reason why student advocacy, Senator Daniels was there at our meeting and sent out the legislation earlier this morning. That's why we were able to vote on what he sent out this morning, and we were able to see the new legislation. I understand what everybody, all the other committees are coming from, because they have not seen this piece, only we were able to, so I just want to say that.
Senator Daniel.
I do want to say this, though. When I did send out the original piece of legislation, it was complete. It had all the research that I put into it and I actually looked into. So until another organization approached me and said, hey, this piece of legislation that you're sending out is going to hinder, if not completely impede, our own efforts that we've been working on this entire year. Is there any possible way for you to reflect it so it helps us as well as gets the original point of why you're putting out this resolution? Well, I do understand that everyone's frustrated at the structure of the resolutions. I mean, I completely understand. But you have to understand this. When I edit a piece of legislation and put it on the table, it's because I went out and talked to students that came up to me with issues from it. So, I mean, it happens. I mean, I truly understand it happens that you're frustrated. But overall, I firmly believe, like, this shouldn't, like, I'm not saying, oh, give me special exemption, but I'm actually saying, like, hey, like, this is an issue that needs to be addressed. And I understand with timing constraints and whatnot, I actually have a really busy schedule. It's just some things are put forth and changed for a reason, and this is one of the reasons. I sent it out around, 10 o'clock this morning. I approached several senators throughout today, asking them their opinion on this bill, this changed bill. Yet some of them were like, oh no, I'm too busy. Oh no, we'll just bring it up at the table. I have gone out and made the effort to actually talk to everyone here. Well, no, Allie was at the student advocacy meeting. But everyone here has been approached by me talking about these resolutions. I asked you if you had any problems or concerns. So by me going out, I do expect that everyone's read this if they said they're going to come to the table with concerns. So the whole argument that you're saying that you don't feel comfortable passing a resolution that you don't know anything about, I approached you to talk to you about this, and I was either blown off or you gave me information that made me assume that you read this resolution.
Senator Mondo, Senator Wong, and Senator Guerrero.
In the end, a lot of the stuff that we saw wasn't actually the resolution we thought it was, though, and that's the big problem. And so we have even though you may have spoken to some of us over the course of the day, some of them may not have actually seen the new resolution and what has changed in it. And I don't want to keep them from talking, but I do. So I'm not going to make the motion now because I feel like they'll have good opinions. But I do feel like our best course of action is to table indefinitely on something like this, and we can revisit the issue at a later date, probably next year by a new Senate, likely. Too late for it to mean anything to ONR, but at the same time, we have an obligation to the students to actually represent them, and we can't represent them properly without having viewed legislation. By having voted on one piece of legislation and seen another at the table. So it's one thing to make the process smaller by going to committee of the whole. It's something wholly different to try and go through the proper process and change it on us before it even comes to the table.
Senator Wong.
Yeah, I have to agree. Everything that I've reported from my committee about this resolution is irrelevant to this content because almost everything is different. You added a lot of whereas isn't being resolved, and it just doesn't make sense for us to approve it or make any type of decision on it right now. And the fact that, yeah, you did approach some of us, and you did approach me today earlier, 2 hours before the meeting, but the thing is, I have finals and essays and papers to do in my duties as a student, and I didn't even know that some of these things were, like, this was entirely new. So it just doesn't, I don't understand the point you're trying to say, because you can approach me 5 minutes before the meeting. If I haven't read anything, it's still the same thing.
Senator Guerrero.
I really, really like the bill that I looked at today, but is there any way that we could salvage the one that you had previously submitted that everybody had seen?
Senator Daniel.
I mean, the only possible thing is to bring up the original one and edit it to reflect this new one.
Senator Mondo.
I move the table indefinitely.
There's been a motion to table indefinitely. Is there a second? Senator Wong. Seconded by Senator Wong. Any discussion? Senator Gray.
Let's just keep in mind for the record that it's not because we don't support this. I think it needs to be done in a better process. And like Mondo said, at best be left for the Senate for next year. And I think we're going to take a better approach to it. One of the comments I'd like to add is you said that it changed because students met with you and that's why you changed it. Well, this is something that should have been set in stone before you even presented it to the table. You had to talk to a vast amount of constituents, your peers as well as your advisors and the people that you mentioned before it's even submitted into the legislative process, and you didn't do that. You waited until it was placed and then you talked to your constituents. I think that's a very unprofessional thing to do.
Senator Zisser?
I don't get why, because you've done this in the past where you take a 5-minute recess to go over a new bill or new additions or to reword something. Why hasn't anybody mentioned that? Because, I mean, I've written through this one and the last one. It's not a ton, like, a lot different. I don't know why we can't do that.
Senator Gillen?
Because the first couple of times we did it was a warning to the senators to, like, don't mess up again. And to keep constantly allowing it, especially at the last meeting of the year, it's just like, where are we headed? Are we going to continue to accept these mistakes? Or are we going to finally put our foot down and say, no, you needed to have all of these things done beforehand because everybody else has their own life to do.
I just feel like, once again, we should not try this indefinitely just because I feel like we're punishing the senator we're punishing the students and the senator, because I don't know if the next year's Senate is going to do this anytime soon, because it took us, the whole year to pass like 10 or 11 resolutions that actually did something for the campus as a whole. Most of the stuff we did was bills, by the way. And so all those resolutions, this is like one of the big ones we had, and if we don't pass this, we basically passed very little resolutions the whole year that actually affected students.
Senator Gillen?
I'm willing to edit this at the table. I'm just going to put that out there. But not like that many changes. Like if you could put the changes to a minimum, I'd be accepting of that.
Senator Gray?
This is the last week. If we decide to fix this and send it out, there's no more weeks. If the president doesn't like it, he's going to veto it. There's nothing you can do about it. The president's not here. I haven't seen him say anything about it, so I don't know how he feels about it.
Senator Wong and Senator Daniel?
I have to disagree. It's about quality over quantity, and I think that not a good majority of us have a complete, full understanding of what's going on with this resolution.
Senator Daniel?
I do want to say that I have approached President Brandon with both versions of this resolution. He has both versions, and I do say that he does support this, and he does agree that this is something that should be looked at as well. You know, if this is passed this year, then the next branch coming in can look at this and be like, okay, so what would be needed for this? And that's kind of like the overall spirit of it. Although I don't like. I understand Senator Mondo, Senator Wong, and Senator Garrett's point. I do understand that that putting down your foot for a mistake, I do admit this is a mistake on my part. However, I ultimately have to agree with Senator Zisser because this resolution was edited purely because Lambda Alliance approached me. And they were a bit confused, and I did admit that, I did want to have this pass as like the last thing, ASUCM of this year does. But at the same time, I feel like this is a greater disservice because this is actually a bill written with the club that's actually going out, talking to Charles Neese, talking to James Lawrence, talking to Onar to establish one. This was just to help him gain merit. So this is more so tabling it now wouldn't really wouldn't help the situation if it's just going to be brought up next year. I mean, why not pass it now? Like, everything aside, if we pass this now, then it's in the hands of the next AS. It's that simple. It's in the hands of the next AS. But this is actually one of the few issues that I've been looking into for the last couple weeks to fulfill a request from a student.
Senator Mondo?
The last time you publicly admitted a mistake here, it ended up being almost lying on the public record. We had a discussion about that. We can't keep on doing this. It's not against them. It's not even against you personally. It's against the way it was went about, and it's against the way it was changed. And for us to vote yes on something like this is to us to basically approve the way we went about it. And so, tabling it doesn't help them now, and we can hope they take it up next year. But at the same time, how does it make us look if we're willing to accept legislation that's been submitted past deadline, changed before it came to the table, and then discussed and then having the majority of people here not having actually read its current version before it actually came here? It's not the idea. It's what you actually did with the idea and how it actually came to us. So that I'd like to call the question.
All those in favor of ending discussion and moving to a vote, please raise your hands. Keep a vote aye. approved unanimously. Okay, all those resolutions.
No, like the new one or the old one?
The new one.
Okay.
All those in favor of tabling resolution 17 indefinitely, raise your hand and keep them up high. Senator Jones, Senator Gray, Senator Prado, Senator Rosenberg, Senator Teese, Senator Mondo, Senator Wong, Senator Garland, and Senator Taylor. All those opposed? Senator Zisser and Senator Daniel. Resolution 17 has been tabled indefinitely. We are now at resolution number 18, student employee rights, introduced by Senator Daniel. Senator Daniel.
I move to approve resolution 18.
There's been a motion to approve resolution number 18. Is there a second? Senator Gallen.
Second.
Second by Senator Gallen. Committee reports, budget and finance.
At our committee meeting, we were informed that that Jason Sousa and many people in dining services were not actually informed about this. It was mostly the work of the dining services board, as well as that the committee did not fully feel comfortable with a lot of the information brought up in this. A lot of it was vague, so this was not approved.
Academic affairs.
We didn't meet.
Student activities.
At the time, how the resolution was written, we found that it was unclear in direction-wise, and there was no focus to this resolution. And in some ways, it was also misleading. But again, this resolution is completely different now, so, and it did not prove unanimously.
Student advocacy.
At the time, we had the current resolution brought to us, and we had lots of guest speakers talk about their experiences in dining, so we agreed with what I'm saying.
Senator Daniel.
So, just to answer a lot of questions, in case you know, the Dining Services Advisory Board consists of a chair and 6 people. There's a vice chair, and there are people from each department of dining within them. When I was appointed last semester by the Senate, when I did the initial recruitment to the board, a lot of students were uncomfortable actually joining the board because they felt that they were unable to, if they were part of this, there's a potential that they could possibly lose their job. So I had to work with them to get more involvement with them to say that, you know, throughout the entire course of working with the Dining Services Advisory Board, that you will remain completely confidential. Your name will not be ever released, and you will never, anything you report can be brought up, but at the same time, your name will never be linked to it. So you have complete job, like, it kind of like played to their conscience, so we can actually work and actually research. I've been working with dining for this with the board. The board has been working with dining for this last semester. We've recently had an interview with Jason Sousa in which we collected actual questions from the student population. It's on YouTube. Reach Authentic Media actually streamed it. But I do realize with a bit of information brought up by both dining and last minute information, that whereas concerning the food handler's license, there are exceptions to that rule. So dining, we do admit that under the current understanding that we didn't get to see the exceptions, so that kind of is invalid. But the rest of the actual whereases are really just the actual information obtained from the reports. Now, one of the biggest things I do want to say is that the additional whereases are so a lot of students that work at dining weren't aware that, you know, this board existed, even though we talked to them and we actually asked them, like, hey, you know, we do have this dining services board. And they were shocked and like, well, what do you guys do? We work with dining to help get student outreach, but at the same time, we advocate for the rights of the student employees. So once they saw the actual initial resolution, then they're like, oh wait, no, you forgot this, you forgot that. So that's where the additional 32 whereases actually were brought up. Now, the whereases themselves were all different reports from different students. I do want to say that certain things, such as the sexual harassment claims, they were reported to the administration at the Dining Commons. However, it resulted as some of the students that spoke at the student advocacy meeting, they were either moved or reassigned to a different shift. So their concerns were heard, but they weren't actually addressed. There was one case of sexual harassment that was brought up, but at the same time, it resulted in, from the reports of the shift leads and the individual, that there was a sexual harassment workshop given to the crew workers because they're protected by union rights. But there was, the other case, there was a termination. But one thing I do want to say is that, you know, this resolution does speak out to the actual culture of the campus employees. A lot of them, whereas 13 actually states how they actually, a majority of the people that work in dining right now feel that, you know, they're like, okay, so I feel uncomfortable approaching them because we feel like, you know, anything we say will just be heard on deaf ears. So they either quit. And if you didn't know, if you look at the Yakavas Walls Dining Center right now, it's severely understaffed. All the student supervisors are working head over heels just to maintain an understaffed dining commons that's over operations. Now, we do understand that dining has been addressing some of these things, and that's why the actual demands of what was actually said in this, that overall speak for the resolution and the results of our research are just 8 simple demands that doesn't really harm dining or say that, you know, you suck dining, but no, these are the demands of the board that said, after speaking to many of your students that work under you, these are some things that we kind of want at the overall workplace. And
5 seconds. 5 seconds.
Oh, and you know, this would help everyone overall.
Time. Senator Mondo?
Zach, I really don't like coming to you and doing this every single week but it seems like every week there's new critiques about your legislation because of the way it's been brought to the table. It's not that we don't want to hear complaints about dining services. It's about the way that you came to these complaints and brought them to the table again. So, I mean, and in the end, I felt like that a lot of the evidence until tonight was fairly unsubstantiated. Senate hadn't really seen any of these reports. We just have to trust directly what's on legislation. And then it goes on, and then you talk about the board a lot and what the board does. But a lot of the people in dining don't know who the board is, who heads the board, why the board exists, or how to get on the board. And when you go further into it, it becomes somewhat disjointed because then you move into talking about all employee rights across campus and the way they hire people. And you never spoke about that before. It was only dining. And then we get a drastically changed version when it comes here. And in committee, you said that Jason Souza was not aware of it. After you had originally said, yeah, I've talked to him. Yeah, and you said that twice where you said, well, I'm in the process. And in the process is different from actually have done it. Have you actually spoken to him at this point?
Yes.
Okay, well, that's good. You actually talked to him before he came to the meeting. That was one of the requests of the committee. But at the same time, before you even sent it to committee, you still didn't talk to them at first. And so if your constituents don't know your existence, when you give us a vague bill with data that's being argued back and forth during public forum between people that have seen different sides of it, so a lot of it's disputable, when you send us drastically change legislation that none of us have seen before and remove a lot of the whereases and completely reword them completely, you've changed the complete scope and scale of this legislation in multiple areas. I don't feel comfortable voting on somewhere because this is, even though the committee the Budget and Finance did not do it, this is not the resolution we saw in Budget and Finance. And I really don't like doing this over and over again, but I don't think it can be stressed enough that we cannot let this happen anymore, and that next year can't be allowed either. And we have to take our stand now to say, though it's a good cause, we cannot vote on this, we cannot talk about this. This has not gone through the right channels, nor has it been done in an ethical way.
Senator Taylor?
Like I said before, Zach, during our meeting, one problem I had is with all the whereases. It starts to be very general, vague on all student employees, and then it gets very specific to dining services. So, and in your purpose, it says to promote the hiring of student employees by the university and to protect the rights of current student employees. So it's kind of like a mixed signal. Is it just dining services, or is it all student employees, general, like all over? And also, you stated too during our meeting that you had these cases that are confidential. Well, this is coming, verbally. I would like to see physically, the cases. May it be you black out the names and mark it off, don't put the names, but I would like to see the physical cases so I know there are cases coming that you know of. The name you can black out, but it's just evidence, so.
Can we just vote on the original bill that people marked at though, or is that not possible? Because
so for anybody that's kind of on the edge about this bill, so I heard from her that Mexican food that I had right before this meeting, that burrito, was cooked by somebody that could not have been wearing gloves because it was not enforced. And that kind of concerns me and the other 2,000 students that live on this campus whose food is not cooked properly and is not enforced. And here we have a chance to actually do something about it. And yeah, I know the concerns were not brought up throughout other parts of the year, and it was taken a while, and the process might not have been great. But we have a chance to do something about it tonight. And I feel like we'd be doing a disservice to students by saying no to this just because the process was poor.
Senator Gray? Senator Daniel?
I do realize that the name of the actual resolution is confusing, as brought up during the student advocacy meeting. I do want to make an amendment to the actual name of the resolution to be the dining services employee right resolution, which would actually make it a bit more. It wouldn't raise confusion. And to answer the actual argument of the resolution and the claims. So here's the thing. We start off with saying we urge all university departments to reassess their student employment, training policies and the policies regarding student employment. This isn't saying that they have problems. I can understand why some people might be a bit confused about how it goes from, asking all university departments to reassess their training things and then go straight to dining. But the biggest thing is just out of like common sense. If one department, not all departments are perfect. Dining, they've been working really hard to keep up with. There's not enough space. There's not enough. There's too many students here, but there's certain things that need to be addressed. But at the same time, like if you look at all other departments, it doesn't hurt to reassess, like we do our own bylaws. We look over them every year to make sure that they're up to date and they address the certain current needs of the students. The language of the being acted regarding the university departments actually is in there in spirit saying, hey, could you look over them more often so they can be updated to address the student, needs.
Senator Turner?
Then what is this resolution? Is it for all departments or is it just dining services? Because you're going back and forth. You're wanting to change the name, and I'm kind of getting confused, to be honest. Because you're going.
I have to agree with Taylor, because honestly, on the background, all it talks about is hiring and increasing for students. It does not say anything about dining commons. And all I'm hearing is defending and arguing about dining commons. Where are all the other departments on this campus? They're not listed here, no research done with them whatsoever. You could have just done this as dining commons, but right now, like Taylor, I am so confused on what you were talking about. Earlier you talked to me, but you were mostly talking about, I want to increase employment on campus. You did not say whatsoever, this is only focused on dining.
Senator Mondo?
I have it from Jason Souza that you guys do offer food safety training. Forms are available at your choice if you want to try and take more of it. That you guys are trained in the field, and that furthermore, when it comes to sexual harassment, they immediately report it. And you went and basically accused the administration of either covering up or not doing enough to fix the problem, and that's on them. But apparently, dining is on what it's supposed to and all it can do in that process. So it's bad, but what happened is bad. But I mean, we don't really have we can't really challenge these things very easily. We don't have any authority over that, and nor do we really have proof necessarily that any of that stuff that cover-ups happened. I'd like to think that doesn't happen. I'd like to yield the floor to Steve.
Well, on that point, the reports go to the Title IX office. So if you have an issue with sexual harassment complaints being taken up and being investigated, you've got a whole other office you need to talk to, which hasn't happened. And I just want to address that piece of this is two resolutions in one. It talks a lot about minimum wage for all students and hiring more students to run university affairs, adequate compensation for minimum wage, which it would be illegal if we didn't pay you minimum wage at minimum. And so it's confusing across the board. But my biggest piece is whereases are not meant to just list complaints. That's why you have 50 whereases. That's what an appendix is for. It's to say these are all the issues, whereas we think that this is a problem. I've never seen a bill with this many. It's very confusing. Like the whole piece of the woman not wearing gloves, that's not in here. It's not mentioned at all in this resolution. It talks about students, but the career staff not wearing gloves and stuff is not a part of this. So it's really confusing, and it's going to confuse everybody you share this with.
Senator Prado?
I feel like this is on kind of like personal level. I feel feel like you should have gone to the dining commons like management before you came here. I mean, if you have a board, I think that's what a board is meant to do, to go and talk to them. I mean, if they don't know it's there, then how do you expect them to complain or even fix the stuff and what's going on in the dining commons? I feel like as a board, like how we are for the students, you guys are advocating for the dining commons, employment, safety training, everything. So I think it's for the board to do all of this, not ASUCM in a way. Sorry.
Senator Jones.
My concern is in the resolution, it said workers who are upset about not being able to get free and discounted food. But if the workers are seeing people cook this food without gloves, using their hands, and possibly contaminated chicken, I don't understand that.
Senator Daniel. Senator Zisser.
I'd like to make a friendly amendment to take away the first three, be it resolves, that do not have anything to do with the dining common stuff.
Do you accept?
Yes.
Senator Mondo.
No, I think the problems go deeper. They're trying to fix some whereas I don't know how much is salvageable from this point, because obviously so much has been disputed at this point. I don't think it'd be right of us to pass legislation with so much in doubt. And I know you're completely sure about everything that's in this, and that's a good thing. But the rest of us aren't, or for the most part, except for a few of us, I'm sure the rest of us are not sold on this right now. So in the end, a lot of the points you bring up have been repeatedly refuted by people here, repeatedly refuted by people in dining. When it comes to things like gloves, which they're supposed to be wearing anyways, or when it comes to things like discounts, which, as I was told, as an auxiliary at the school, they don't have the right to ask for those things. It's just they're either out of our hands to change. Nobody cares enough to change them, or it's not anything that we should be talking about or discussing here. And so I don't think that this is something the Senate should be further discussing or considering at this point.
Senator Gray.
I want a motion to table resolution indefinitely.
There's been a motion to table this bill indefinitely. Is there a second? Senator Prado. Second by Senator Prado. Discussion. Senator Daniel.
I do want to point out that the actual meat and call for action from the resolution is in Appendix B, which dining is aware of. I actually gave a lot of them are being addressed, which is stated in the whereases. I understand people may be confused about the overall thing, but tabling it is not the right thing to do. It defeats the whole purpose of what the board has done up to this point. A lot of the actual issues that are in this resolution, they have been brought to actual management over the years several times, but to the management. If you ask a lot of the employees that sit here today, they will say the same thing, that anytime you bring, from the most part, anything you bring to management is either ignored or either pursued in such a way where the employees either moved or just the matters just dropped completely.
Senator Jones.
Okay, my concern is you're the head of the dining services board. You said you guys have done so much, but then you said that the employees don't even know that the board exists. Tabling it is not saying that students don't deserve rights. Yes, they deserve rights as workers, but it's about going about the right way about it. Like, if you have this position and you're in the position to actually do something, then let's do it the right way. That's what we're saying.
Senator Gray.
As well as Mondo said, there's two resolutions here. Are we going to pass this when there's multiple aspects to this resolution? I mean, if you look at Appendix B, some of the things that you guys are demanding, it's like providing discount coupons if students have no other option to buy non-slip shoes. I mean, are these really concerns that they need to be worried about, or?
Senator Mondo.
You defeated your own purpose when you submitted incomplete legislation for what is, I think, the 8th time now. There's not much really else we can do here. When it comes down to it, the demands, when it comes down to it, a lot of things you're saying is hearsay. When it comes down to it, a lot of things you're saying, like a few or a couple people said this or that, it doesn't hold much bearing here because it's not real evidence to us. It wouldn't hold up in any court. It's not even going to hold up at this table because we're not going to listen to a few people said this that they're not listening to us, because they actually could be listening to us and they could have their hands tied as well. It could be in many situations which haven't even been discussed yet. I just feel like you tried your best on something that's an issue that could exist, but that this isn't the best representation of it, and that it's not something we should be considering right now. So I called a question.
This is got a question. All those in favor of ending discussion and moving to a vote, raise your hand and keep them up high. Senator Jones, Senator Gray, Senator Prado, Senator Rosenberg, Senator T, Senator Mondo, Senator Wong, Senator Garland, Senator Taylor. All those opposed? Senator Zisser, Senator Daniel. Okay, all those in favor of tabling Resolution 19 indefinitely, raise your hand and keep them up high. Senator Jones, Senator Gray, Senator Prado, Senator Rosenberg, Senator T, Senator Mondo, Senator Wong, Senator Taylor. All those opposed? Senator Zisser, Senator Daniel. Abstain. You know you have to be farther. You actually have to be way, but it's already too late. Okay, this bill has been tabled indefinitely. We're now on to new business. Bill number 84, streaming equipment for awesome, introduced by Senator Daniel.
Point of information, by the financial bylaws, the introducer has to be Senator Mondo.
Senator Mondo?
You sent it to court technically last time this happened with the bill Jared tried to put in. So also, I mean, I agree with the cause, but I don't feel comfortable putting my name on it.
Point of information, the equipment bill is actually done through the special case fund, which is through the proper channels for something like this. This isn't a edit to the financial bylaws, is why I sent it to court, because the proper processes were not followed for the actual the financial bylaws edit.
Senator Mondo.
I know, and this technically violates bylaws in that I'm not an introducer on it. I don't know if I'm forced onto being an introducer of it now that it was approved, or if I have to be added onto the bill necessarily. I don't know what the case is with that, but Steve.
I'm reading.
Okay, so technically Senator Daniel sent it to me. Mondo never did, but as the financial bylaws state, it does have to be the chair of the Budget and Finance Committee.
He's reading.
Yeah, but he never sent it to me.
That's what we did with Sale. I had to introduce it.
Senator Gray wrote it.
Yeah.
That's not true.
No? Then why was I forced to do that last time?
It wasn't a special case.
Yeah,
So
it was.
the
For
cell
Sale
one?
it was.
The cell. Remember they were a first year club? And
No, that was a financial bylaw. Wasn't there a financial bylaw?
No, they're referencing the sale bill.
The Sale bill required me to be the chair because they had to get a special case fund in order to be taken, in order for it to go to Senate.
Look at the special case.
You have to go through budget and finance and then.
Which you did.
Yeah.
Which is proved.
Is the key word that?
Does ICC need approval?
No, Senate has total power for their line item. But somewhat disrespectful.
Point of personal privilege.
Were you an
Minute recess.
No, but I was an introducer. I didn't have to author it, I just had to introduce.
Jared Zisser bill about the.
Because it was the Jared Zisser.
No, that's the one we went to court over.
Yeah.
The one I had to be an author on, that's for the financial bylaw one. I'm not talking about that. I meant the Sale bill.
You didn't have to be an author on it.
Then why was I was told by you and Ken I had to be an author on it.
Oh, I talked about that with the Zisser.
No, this is well before, this is well
I didn't know
before.
the sale bill was coming. I said it had to go through a special case fund.
No, that's true. And then I was told after that I had to be an introducer. Then I wasn't told the right thing then. You guys told me that. Okay, so now we're okay with that?
Yeah, you're fine.
Oh, okay, well, whatever. Then our bylaws need to change.
Yeah, I'm reading the special case fund right now.
Okay, because you guys...
In that week, it was both things happening. Because when you change the financial bylaws, you have to...
Well, no, but that thing was... The Jared bill thing wasn't until after that. Yeah, it wasn't until like another 2 weeks after that. Yeah, no, it's fine. I guess...
It says that the special case fund given to student organizations supported programs show benefits and mutual contact with the purpose of benefiting the university as a whole. The ASUCM Treasurer and ASUCM Senate Budget and Finance Committee shall make such request within discretion. 2/3 of your committee must approve of it for the Senate to consider. It doesn't list you at all.
Okay,
So that was
all right, that's fine. I don't mind either way.
Didn't cause a problem.
I don't want, because I'm actually cool with this, I don't mind it. It's only $400 for some equipment. I just like, it's gonna come. I know, but this comes from the div thing about things, and that's one of the things I told Ken about. That, because I've been told that in the past, but it also ends up with the whole line item transfer thing. This is Senate action, right? On the bill.
Yeah, you can't spend it
without us.
Yeah, you can only spend it general.
Yeah.
Just like you couldn't say,
2011.
we're gonna spend this money on a charity. That's the same deal. Yeah, I think you would. Well, you spend Jefferson's money, we're just gonna spend.
Well, I mean, he's cool, obviously, you know, other people's.
But yeah, so what they need to do is they need to suspend to move into general law.
I guess he's talking to him right now, and he has no problems happening. Not that they can use the money right now, there's a
Well,
lot.
I mean, at the end of the day, they're done. It's not like they're carrying over stuff. They have money that will go somewhere. So the Senate's job is to populate.
It's been 2 minutes. Return to the Senate table.
That was a bigger issue. So you should be fine with these.
All right, that's cool. I thought that the organizations just had enough experience to be able to be sent to it for that, so they should be fine now, I guess, if that's the case. What? Oh, him. All right, Zach, should be good.
Back to the Senate.
All right. I just have to double check on that.
Not that last time it's supposed to be like super quick.
It's supposed to be, but it's not. What time's the thing in the Chancellor's house?
5:30.
Hey.
You going?
Back to the Senate table, please.
Your class, yeah, I'm not gonna go.
Because I kind of feel like they know.
Well,
I never got that email.
I have work, and I don't really want to. I don't feel like getting off work.
Okay. I don't know what time Ivan was at for the discussion, so I'm gonna put this at 10 minutes.
No, we didn't even.
It hadn't even started.
Yeah, it's still in motion, like before motion. So.
All right, you can make a motion, it's cool.
Oh, I can make it.
Yeah.
So I move to.
Senator Daniel. Senator Daniel.
Oh, I move to approve bill number 84. Wait, no.
Oh, this is for us.
Yeah, 84.
Okay, there's a motion to approve bill number 84. Senator
second.
Mondo, second. Discussion? Anyone opposed?
No, you
Take a point.
it was the budget committees.
Oh, committees, okay.
Meeting reports.
Academic affairs,
We didn't meet.
budget and finance.
Budget and finance approved the special case fund, and we're also okay with the bill. In the end, it requires special AV equipment, and having played video games, I understand what that equipment entails and how you're supposed to use it. So honestly, I got nothing against it. They have events over the summer, so in the end, the committee approved it.
Oh, okay. Student activities.
We talked about it, but we didn't vote on it because senators were not comfortable in voting because it wasn't sent to our committee.
Okay, so this is new business.
Oh, yeah, I forgot.
So,
Yeah.
Senator Daniel.
You're supposed to motion to put this committee as a whole.
I rescind my vote. Well, that motion doesn't, that's illegal. I rescind that motion. I move to bring bill number 84 to committee of a whole.
There's a motion to move to committee as a whole.
You move the bill first.
Okay.
Move the bill.
Yeah.
She misspoke. Move the bill.
Okay, so move the bill into committee as a whole. Is there a second? Senator Gray, second. Any discussion? Anyone opposed? Great.
Yeah,
Senator Daniel.
I move to bring Senate to committee of a whole.
Okay.
The did bill.
Senator Gray.
Did you send the bill? The bill too, or just
The bill.
Senator Daniel?
Oh, so basically the all-welcoming eternal society of melodramatic enigmas. You have to say the whole thing, like the Tribe Called Quest. The purpose of ASUCM basically is to. It has multiple purposes, but our two main creeds are: is the one to create a UC-wide video game league that's recognized internationally. It's been a childhood goal of mine, to be like, I competed collegiately. But and the second is to create a tutoring program for sixth graders, which is still being ironed out with the rest of the executive boards and my successor. But so just to let everyone know, April 27th, 2014, we held Aftermath, a collaboration with the Central Valley Fighting Game community, R3 Gaming, and a few other Central Valley organizations. So our club has a lot of community involvement when it comes to actually the gaming community. We had an event, Aftermath, which had about 60 people, including a few people from Evolution. Just to let you know, UC Merced actually, this club kind of adopted the Super Smash Bros. Melee Club that was established and disbanded as of 2012. In case you didn't know, our school actually has a history of having students compete in EVO, the internationally known fighting game league. But to get back to the purpose of this actual bill, in order to expand our club and actually to get our name out there and advertise our events on a more international scale, we contacted Shuriken, the actual community that's behind the EVO fighting game evolution tournaments, and they suggested these capture equipments that work with both PC, Macintosh, as well as the PlayStation 3, the 360, as well as the Nintendo Wii. These streaming equipments were loaned to us during the Aftermath tournament. However, for the sake of the club and what we want to do, we actually require this equipment, and we are entering talks with Reach Authentic Media to actually partner up. So this would be available to more students and get the actual activities of the club out there, so we can attract more UCs and get more UC involvement from our sister campuses. We also want to say that Senator Gray did bring a point of who would manage these equipment, and the setup of also we have a position called the disciplinary chair, who's the basically effective co-chair of the entire organization. That position shares power with the executive chair to maintain all club functionality. So how we would actually allow the system, the equipment to be used is it would have a checkout system. We'll actually give reports of like logs and stuff to ASUCM, like, oh, this is the person who used it. This is how it was checked out, this is what it was used for and whatnot. So our club has the structure to support this equipment. It's just we actually need the equipment to actually further our club activities as we roll into the end of the year and roll into our actual summer events.
Senator Mondo?
Again, the special case fund was approved by Budget and Finance, and being a gamer, there must be a few of us at this table, we understand the kind of capture equipment you need for consoles in order to be able to record and stream it. So I can't disagree with it. They seem to know what they're doing. They have experience with it, and honestly, they do have events over the summer in which the way they've set up the events necessitates that they have this equipment. So I have nothing against it. I support this bill as far as I'm concerned, and it's a fairly small amount of money for an organization that needs it.
Senator Gray?
I completely agree with Zach Warner here. One thing I would like to see is we've been doing this to all the clubs, and as SSG chair, and I'd like to see a 10% cut on this bill. And I believe that was what, $45? Yeah, $45 off of this bill. Could you accept?
Sure. Cut out from unforeseen costs.
Senator Wong?
You have the floor to Ken.
Senator Daniels, where are you storing this? How are you storing this equipment again? Could you talk about that again?
Our original plan was actually to store it in the OSL since, he
talked about that with James.
Can you let me finish?
Hey.
So I talked with James from OSL. From my knowledge, all ACCM equipment is actually to be stored within OSL. No, ACCM.
Yeah, which this would not be.
So that was the original plan, but after speaking with James and discussing it with the club executives, we actually just decided to go with the actual log system and report to ASUCM.
Okay.
It's very straightforward. I mean, we do recognize it is ASUCM's equipment, but at the same time it's used for the club. So, I mean, if anyone ever establishes an inventory system or some sort, we'd be happy to integrate the equipment into the actual inventory system. But until that actually is established, we have to work with the devices of our own club.
Any more discussion? Senator Gray?
Can you explain a little bit, where did you get this, I know we just got $45 from that, but where did this unforeseen cost come from? I mean, it already seems that you already anticipated for the shipping and the tax, so where was this unforeseen cost, for shipping problems and price changes?
Yeah, so when we were researching it, we found it on sale, and we didn't really want to, we found it on sale. We didn't want to run across a situation where we found it for this price with this estimate, and then come, if Senate approved it, come and be short the actual money needed. I've seen this before in different organizations, and honestly, I mean, if it's still on sale, if it's still cheaper, I mean, we would be completely fine with cutting out the unforeseen costs. But overall, this is just to ensure, like, we're not going to use, the money goes back into rollover if we don't spend it, which is integrated into next year's general fund. But we just don't want to start off with a special case fund to be allocated this and be the first thing we spend with ASUCM money going into the negative, because that would look bad on us as an organization.
Senator Rosenberg?
So the sale price is lower than that. That would be the original price up there. So the special case, or the unforeseen cost wouldn't be needed for that, because that would be the most you'd be paying anyway off Amazon. The sale would be for $144.
Any more discussion? Senator Wong? Senator Daniel?
In that case, I'll just remove the unforeseen cost. And update the actual amounts in the be enacted.
We're putting $45 on it. Yeah, skateboard $45.
Well, that's actually the price of two of them together with the sales tax, by the way.
So it's 379 plus 70?
So what's that? Senator Gray?
Yeah, that's the question. So is the total 379 and then it's
60 cents?
No, that's not. Okay, so is it 379 plus 70 and then we just take 70 and we take 70 out of the total, out of the 379, or is that additional?
That was additional in case the price in
So what was the total price of the bill?
It's right there where it says total.
That's what I'm saying. So then do we eliminate $70 from the total?
No, from the unforeseen cost.
So then what is the total that you're asking for? You're asking the total of 379 plus 70?
Senator Gray?
Okay.
Senator Daniel?
So just to, eliminate any confusion, the bill overall asking amount was about $450. The unforeseen cost was on top of the actual amount that we did, we pretended like we were about to order something, and then we stopped right there to see the actual overall cost. And then, but we didn't want to, as I said, we don't know if the price is going to go up or down. So that's why we added on unforeseen costs. Because, as I said, we're a new organization. We don't want to actually go into the summer with being in the negative for something we bought to promote our club. So this is really just to make sure we don't overspend, underspend.
So are we taking 10% now from your $379.68, or is the 10% already included in cutting the unforeseen costs?
The unforeseen cost.
Senator Daniel?
The unforeseen cost.
Okay.
Senator Gray?
I'd like to take away 10% from 379. I thought.
Do you accept?
No.
Moving to a vote. All those in favor of taking 10% off 379? Oh, there is a second. Yeah, there needs to be a second. Is there a second? Okay. Motion dies. Senator Taylor?
Okay, so we eliminated the unforeseen cost, so that is no longer in the bill, correct?
Yes.
Okay, so then we need to take 10% off the price, correct? I just want to clarify, that's why I'm just asking before I said anything, I just want to clarify, okay?
start.
Any more discussion, or we're moving on to vote? Steve, yes.
You need to change the be it enacted clause because it still reflects 450 page up. You just need to change that before you approve it.
For next year.
Bless you.
For the right price, which is $379.68.
Senator Mondo?
Guys, it's only $200. Cuts have already been made to the total amount. They're going to be getting what they want. I think we're good to go. So, I mean, we've already cut 10% from it, and this is an arbitrary requirement set by the president this year that we've agreed to. So, I think we don't have to honor anything with this. I think we're fine where we are. I think we're ready to vote.
Senator Daniel?
I do want to say, this is words from President Brandon himself. He's not going to veto it because it would put the club in an uncomfortable position and it would require Ivan to call an emergency meeting during finals.
Finals for a reason. Finals for a reason. Any more discussion? Okay. We're moving out of committee as a whole. Senator Daniel?
I move to move out of, exit committee of the whole.
There's been a motion to move out of committee of the whole. Is there a second? Senator Gray? Second by Senator Gray. Any discussion? Anyone opposed? We are out of committee of the whole. Senator Daniel? Senator Daniel?
I move to approve bill number 84. Yeah, 84.
There's a motion to approve bill number 84. Is there a second? Senator Gray? Second by Senator Gray. All those in favor of approving bill number 84, please raise your hands to keep them up high. Approved unanimously. Bill 84 passes. Bill number 85, Division Summer Attendance, introduced by Senator Daniel. Senator Daniel.
Okay, so I move to bring bill number 85 to committee of the whole.
There's been a motion to send bill number 85 to committee of the whole. Is there a second? Senator Taylor. Second by Senator Taylor. Any discussion?
Is this point of order?
There will be something done to address the actual discrepancies with how much is left and whatnot. But I do want to say that I have talked to ICC about taking the money out, and they were okay with it. They just wanted to know if it was legal or not. And I told them it was legal, and they're like, okay. This comes from Shelby. I can't say her.
Anyways,
okay.
Any discussion on moving it to committee of the whole? Senator Mondo.
I think we should. You're gonna have to make the line item transfer thing first. This is the Senate action, right? So yeah, we need to do that and create that before we go and edit all these things. We need to also change the be it enacted to make it look right. So.
Well, if we edit the bill, I still have to make the motion to approve it, and I can make it there. So.
Okay, Senator Mondo.
My point is, let's just get the money in the actual line item before we start approving legislation that's going to be pulling out of it, because we also have to change the be it enacted to reflect that.
We were just discussing moving to committee of the whole. Moving the bill, right?
I'm saying not to move to committee of the whole.
Senator Daniel?
We can move the bill into the committee whole, but then we can make the motion. So,
Any more discussion on moving the bill into committee of the whole? Anyone opposed? Okay, the bill has been sent to committee of the whole. Any other motion? Senator Daniel?
I motion to create a Senate line item transfer. Right?
I'm getting my thing.
To suspend the legislative bylaws.
Oh yeah, I move to suspend the legislative bylaws.
The motion to suspend the legislative bylaws. There's a second. Senator Zisser?
Second.
Second by Senator Zisser. Any discussion? Anyone opposed? Okay, legislative bylaws have been suspended. Senator Daniel?
I move to add a Senate line item transfer of how much is that?
Whatever's left in ICC.
Okay,
a line item transfer of Ken Gaffney.
Senator Daniel?
I move to create a Senate line item transfer of the remaining unallocated funds in the ICC general fund to the Senate bill line item.
Well, you want to put that on the agenda?
Yeah.
No, it's to reconsider the motion to approve the agenda. Then you're gonna have to. Yes.
That's the one I was talking about.
You got to rescind your motion.
I'd been told I thought you said you suspend the bylaws. It's okay to do it.
I suspended the bylaws.
Yeah, but still, we already approved the agenda.
It's fine voices.
And we did it last time. Preston did it. Come on. Now. Somebody gonna motion to Senator Daniel?
I move to reconsider the previously approved motion to approve the agenda.
That was great. There's been a motion to reconsider the approval of the agenda. Is there a second, Senator Zisser?
Second.
Second by Senator Zisser. Any discussion? Anyone opposed? Okay. Now you do it, Senator Daniel.
I move to create a Senate line item, a Senate action of transferring the remaining unallocated
ICC funds.
ICC general funds into the Senate bill line item.
There's been a motion to add a Senate action to the agenda to move unallocated funds from the ICC fund to the Senate general fund. Is there a second? Senator Mondo.
Second.
Second by Senator Mondo. In discussion? Anyone opposed? Okay. Senate action has been added to the agenda. Now you guys need to reapprove it.
Where did you move it?
What do you mean?
Where is it in the agenda?
Oh
You
yeah.
didn't specify a location.
New business.
New business.
New business.
Where in new business?
Under.
Oh, Steve.
You moved the bill.
Before you.
Before or after the bill that you're trying to consider. You gotta put it before the bill.
Okay, before.
Just do it right.
Okay. Okay, so there's been a. I'm not even gonna say it's a motion anymore. It's in front. No, it's in front of the bill. It's in front of the bill. Okay. Now we need to reapprove the agenda. Senator Daniel.
A motion to reapprove the.
Just to approve.
There's been a motion to approve the Senate agenda. Is there a second? Senator Gray. Senator Galen.
Second.
Any discussion? Anyone opposed? Okay. Agenda has been approved. Okay, we are now back at Senate action. Senator Daniel.
I move to approve the Senate action.
There's been a motion to approve the Senate action. Is there a second? Senator Mondo.
Second.
Second by Senator Mondo. Any discussions? Anyone opposed? Okay. Senate action has been approved. Just all of it. Unallocated.
We did it last week.
I'm gonna get the money. I'm gonna get the exact amount right now.
Senator Daniel.
I move to send Senate into committee of whole.
There's been a motion to send Senate to committee of the whole. Is there a second? Senator Taylor.
Second.
Second by Senator Taylor. Any discussion? Anyone opposed? Okay, we are now in committee of the whole discussing Bill 84.
Okay, can you move?
Senator Daniel.
We need to move up to the be enacted. Could you change it so it reflects that the Associate Students University of California Merced Senate allocate $12,100 from the special case fund to division from the Senate general funds? Delete the rest of it.
Any more discussion? Any more discussion? Senator Daniel.
Also, delete in which to be allocated from unallocated IC. Just delete, remove everything after the word fund.
Senator Mondo.
I thought Zach could go over the bill a little bit. Senate Budget and Finance approved the line. The special case fund. They're experienced people that are doing it. We've kind of been over this. We're just going to say it again. Just like it has to be said. They know what they're doing. They have a plan. They seem fairly confident what they can do, and we kind of kept them here long enough tonight. It's a lot of money, but I guess we have money for it now. So.
Senator Wong.
I just want to make a note that ICC, both the new leadership and the old leadership, doesn't know about this. But the other thing I wanted to ask was during the last budget budget and finance committee meeting, we were asking whether it is possible for the cost to go down for the people, and so I was wondering if there's any update for that before we approve anything.
Senator Daniel.
So in terms of the costs and all of it, I spoke with the Multicultural Arts Center. there's a price on there for $1,200 something. I don't know. I spoke with them and we made an agreement in which I don't have to pay them for it. If anyone from the public comes and pays to class, that money from the public goes to the center. That's their kind of payment. So you can deduct the $1,000. I don't know the exact numbers. If that helps.
Senator Daniel.
I do want to add that it's still free to students.
Senator Jones.
So Senator Wong, can you clarify what you mean? So both Christina and Shelby were unaware of this?
Yeah, so earlier,
Senator Wong.
Yeah, so earlier, Senator Daniel said that ICC was aware of this, but I've talked to them all night and they have no idea what was going on. But I just wanted to focus on the budget because since we can move it and we already moved the funding, so can we adjust? You said the rental, right? The room rental?
Yeah, the room.
Senator Visser.
Well, even if they weren't aware of it, if they're not meeting anymore for the rest of the year, that money's just sitting there doing nothing anyways. So I don't see that even a big issue.
Senator Jones.
Well, I mean, we have ICC for a reason. They're separate for a reason. And it's not just, okay, their money's there, let's take it.
Senator Mondo.
I agree they could have probably been consulted about it, but in the end, when it comes to line items, we have authority over them, even ICC's line item, and they can't really spend that money anymore because they don't have any more meetings in which to allocate it. So they should have been consulted in advance, that is true, and many mistakes were made tonight, but I don't want to punish the organization that wants it for that, because unlike the resolutions, they need this money in order to throw an event that they've done in the past as part of different organizations that has been fairly successful, and I don't want to stop them from being able to do that.
Okay, no more ICC talk. The money's already been moved. We're gonna move forward. Senator Wong.
I want a motion to remove $1,260 from the room rental from total.
Do you accept?
Yep.
Okay. Any more discussion? Senator Pardo?
I had a question on when was this held, because I know it's on the summer, but is it only like one session that's going to be able to go to this 2 sessions?
Senator Daniel?
It's for a week.
For what week?
It was June 24th, correct?
That's my birthday.
The week of June 23rd.
Senator Prado?
Kind of off topic. I asked him to.
As long as it's germane to the discussion.
Yeah. I know you did this last year. What are you doing differently this time to advertise it? Because I know I did these classes with you, and there was a couple people, but when you did have entertainers, more came. What are you doing to advertise? Are you providing rights for people since it is going to be downtown Merced?
Yes, so in terms of advertisements, we've been waiting for this meeting, so we go ahead and start posting it all over downtown. We already have a Facebook page. My friend's been working on a website for it. There are several pages for dancers who are in the Merced area, and we've let them know already. In terms of transportation, I spoke with Jim Greenwood earlier. They said it would cost way too much money to have shuttles specifically for it, and so we're advertising it with the schedule for the buses to let them know which bus you need to take to get there. Yeah, if you have any other suggestions or advertisements.
Thank you.
Senator Wong?
I was curious for the taxes. Was it for the room?
The taxes?
Yeah, the $840.
No, I spoke with OSM. They said there's a W-9 that every quarter for us to fill out. And there might be some, I don't know how much the taxes are going to take out of that. So we may not end up using all of the money. We should just, I don't know how that works.
That's fine.
Any more discussion? Okay. Need a motion to move out of committee of the whole. Senator Daniel?
Is it?
No, she needs to know what she's.
What's the number?
It's just 1260. That room rental, that whole column, just remove it.
Need a motion to move out of committee of the whole.
And then you also have to reflect the changes on the.
Senator Gillen?
Motion to move out of committee.
There's been a motion to move out of committee of the whole. Is there a second? Senator Taylor?
Second.
Second by Senator Taylor. Any discussion? Anyone opposed? Given out of committee of the whole. Everyone in favor of approving this bill, please raise your hands and keep them up high. Approved unanimously. Bill 85 has passed. Bill number 86, Singlets Bobcat Wrestling Club, introduced by Senator Mondo. Senator Mondo.
I move to send bill number 86 to committee of the whole.
There's been a motion to send bill number 86 to committee of the whole. Is there a second? Senator Taylor.
Second.
Second by Senator Taylor. Any discussion? Anyone opposed? Bill number 86 is to committee of the whole. Senator Mondo.
Move to enter committee of the whole.
There's been a motion to enter committee of the whole. Is there a second? Senator Gray. Second by Senator Gray. Any discussion? Anyone opposed? We are now at committee of the whole. Senator Mondo.
As you guys know, we've done this before in the past for the cycling team. We did that this year. We bought them singlets for their and uniforms for their competitions. It's a fairly short bill. It's pretty much for the exact same thing. The wrestling team, the wrestling club needs singlets. Oh yeah, hi Ivan. It's on Ivan's shirt. The team needs. You were I think he was the president last year. The wrestling team club needs singlets in order to at their competitions when they compete. They need to be. It's a uniform, and above that, it helps build school pride and spirit at those kinds of things. And in the end, we've done this year, so there's really not much to go around about. If you guys want to make a cut, that's fine. I am also guilty of putting the whole unforeseen cost thing there to make it an even $700. If you guys want to take. If you guys want to take out $70, that's fine by me. But the club just needs this in order to actually be able to have the proper uniforms for competition in the coming year. They originally wanted about $5,000. I was able to wrangle them down to $700 to just get the singlets, and then they're going to come to next year's Senate to try and figure out how to get transportation costs together for what they're actually going to compete for. But this will last in the summer. Manuel, do you want to make? I'll just make the cut then. All right. Can you change? Can you remove $70 from the total? So it's $630. Yeah. Oh no, the total bottom one. Yeah, that one. And then change that to $630. And then the be enacted also has to reflect that. 30.
Any more discussion?
You should probably come to one of these meetings dressed in the singlet.
Already did. Any more discussion? Senator Mondo.
Move to exit committee of the whole.
There's been a motion to exit committee of the whole. Is there a second? Senator Gray. Second by Senator Gray. Any discussion?
You should also wear a singlet.
More germane discussion. Anyone opposed? We're now the committee of the whole. Everyone is okay. All those in favor of approving bill number 86, raise your hand and keep them up high. Bill 86 has been approved unanimously.
Last bill of the year. That was me. Last bill.
Announcements. Senator Daniel.
I need to announce this last meeting to everyone, please. Does it feel like RSVP?
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, show up to the meeting. Show up to the inauguration dinner tomorrow. Welcome in the new Senate. I hope everyone's been working on the binders to give to the next year's Senate officers and whatnot. It's been a great year. Other than that, even though President Brennan is with us, can we all give him a round of applause for the about over 80, I want to say at least 600 hours he's put into ASUCM. Ooh.
That's a very large number.
Can you not interrupt? But I'm just saying, like, he's really dedicated a lot of his actual free time and life into serving the students. And it, honestly, a lot of people may have disagreed with him, but at the end of the day, he fought what he believed in. He stood up for ASUCM. He's actually advocated across state and international. I know he was in talks to actually getting us aligned with the CSUs as well as our sister UCs and the community colleges. But a lot of people don't really realize the amount of work he actually does. And I'm not saying this as like pity, but I'm honestly saying since this is the last day or last meeting, we should be in appreciation of President Brandon and his hard work, and not end the year with people celebrating the new. But we should still all come together, and actually just celebrate him as a whole, and just give him a round of applause.
Any more announcements? Senator Mondo? Senator Galen?
So I was just going to say, like, I know it's super late, but the binders are in the ASUCM office. Yeah, it's super late. But you basically have all of until, I guess, whenever your time ends at UC Merced to talk about your experiences as a senator. You can either email it to me at sgarland, GAERLAN at ucmerced.edu. Just like a letter for not just the incoming senators that are getting inaugurated tomorrow, but also just like for future Senate, to really kind of emphasize that ASUCM Senate is trying to move on from just passing a lot of bills for monetary funds, but also to just like push that to ICC, because that's the reason why ICC exists, to give and distribute money in a democratic process, and for ASUCM Senate to focus more on administrative purposes that will ultimately affect students all around. So,
Any more announcements? Senator Daniel?
I move to adjourn.
Nope. Senator Mondo, get up.
Wait. Oh.
Well, one of you gets the other, you get to adjourn.
Now we get to raise the adjourn.
Now you can adjourn.
I'm sorry, he's been waiting, Emmanuel.
Don't be nice.
Senator Daniel. Senator Daniel,
I motion to adjourn.
is there a second? Senator Gray. Meeting adjourned.
He's wild.
He's excited. Oh man, this is never happens.
Another news, I get to be the new Valerie
That
this
woke me
year.
up. So.
On purpose.
Hey, do we get to keep our name tags?
Yeah, what am I gonna do with you?
Yeah, for a keepsake.
I don't know if I'm gonna keep
wild
this
with
one. Last year I got ASUCM
And feel free to keep your name down.
Not be flashing. Yeah, I didn't. I'll make you the wrong one next year.